Chapter 11, This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes. You use the same power to drive your automobile forward or in reverse, to move it backwards. The energy is not good when it moves you forward, nor evil when it moves you backwards. You must eliminate the idea of good and evil as entities opposing each other and realize there is but one life principle. There is but one electric energy wherever it may be used, but one creative spirit wherever it is perceived, but one spiritual power wherever it is understood. Like the ethers of space, the creative principle of life is ever present. Being everywhere present, it must be present in you. Hence, it must be available at the center of your being. That which defeats you when you use it in a limited way gives you victory when you change your attitude towards it, permitting it to flow through you in a more extensive manner. Always it responds by corresponding to your mental attitudes. Say, I now accept all that I have hoped for and believed in. There is nothing in me that can doubt that good will make its appearance in my experience. There is nothing in me that can dissipate my faith or dim its clear realization. I see in everyone that which I know to be true about myself. Therefore, everyone I think of is blessed by my thought. You are never limited by the principle of your being. Limitation is a result of a limited use of this principle. You can come to but one conclusion. There is something which honors your belief, not in a big way in one place and in a little way in another. Rather, it honors your belief as you believe it. This principle must be without limit. Your thought and acceptance can put brakes on it. In this way, paradoxically as it sounds, you limit the limitless. Of course, you really do not limit it, but you do limit its flow in your own experience. Why is it that you do not instantly heal if the principle with which you deal is limitless, unless it is that your use of principle is limited? Surely it is within the providence of the divine easily to dissolve a cancer or a state of poverty. Surely the miracle of faith can take place in your experience. Do you really expect the signs following your belief? You seem to when you pray. You feel you're using the right words, but are you sure that your prayers or affirmations are made with complete acceptance? It is not the form of treatment which you give or the prayer which you make that gives it power. Rather, it is your faith. Say, I know that I am in the Spirit of God. I know that the Spirit of God is in me. I know that this Spirit is complete and perfect. Therefore, it must be complete and perfect in me. I know that this Spirit is now operating in my affairs. It is manifesting its beauty and harmony in everything I do. I know that my body is a spiritual idea manifesting in form. I know that every organ of my body, being a manifestation of pure spirit, contains within itself a pattern of joy, of peace, of divine order, of harmony, and of complete perfection. Suppose you wish to help a lonely person. Explain to them that God is present in everyone, that there is but one person in whom they live, move, and have their being. Tell them that all people are in this one person, that each is an individualized center of spirit. They are already one with everyone else through the spirit of all. Teach them how to see this one in all. You can follow a very simple practice for them. This takes place in your own consciousness. Since it is difficult for them to identify themselves with good because they are immersed in a sense of isolation, spiritually you are going to take them by the hand until they learn to walk by themselves. Remember, a spiritual mind treatment is a series of statements for yourself or for someone you wish to help. You begin your treatment by realizing the divine presence, which includes everything and everyone, by knowing that since God is all, over all, in all, and through all, God is in this person. Say, this word which I speak is for, naming the person. They are one with God at this moment. They are one with every person whom they meet. There is no thought of separation or isolation in them. Every thought which has denied their unity with people is dissolved. They are inwardly conscious. They are inwardly conscious of their union with all people. They think they are alone in the world. You know that they are one with all people. This unity of life is forever established. There is no real isolation, no real disunion, only an appearance. The thought of loneliness and isolation holds people away from them. Clear this thought, and the one in all people rushes out, in a sense, to meet itself. You are working with an immutable principle, and when the thought is changed, the demonstration will be made. They will find themselves surrounded with friendship, love, and appreciation. That which is definite and clear in your own consciousness becomes part of their consciousness and begins to work automatically for them. In the long run, they must learn to think it for themselves. You are merely helping them over a rough spot. You are doing this gladly, lovingly. They hope that what you are thinking is true. They hope for results. You expect them. They would like to believe. You must know. What they wait for, you accept. What they think may happen in the future, you know is happening right now. Your statements are always affirmations of the present, not the future. Cultivating your own thought, living in continuous expectancy and affirmation, knowing the truth in season and out of season, you are doing your part. The law will never fail. The law will never fail you. Your problem is to convert your own thinking. You do this through words, audibly or inaudibly expressed, through thoughts, ideas, beliefs, prayer, which is silent communication or silent communion with the invisible, realization, meditation, whatever you choose to call these processes. Words are molds into which the creative substance of your consciousness flows. Words without meanings, while they may have some effect through constant repetition, cannot have the same effect that words with meanings have. Your words will have meanings in such a degree as you actually feel that they are in the activity of spirit within you. Jesus told a paralyzed man to get up and walk. His words were simple enough. You, too, can say, "Arise, take up thy bed and walk." But what would happen if you were to say these words? Would your inner consciousness rise in complete conviction? Or would there be some reservation in your thought? Some belief that perhaps the man would not actually pick up his bed and carry it home. Here is a fine point in using the power within you. You must develop a spiritual awareness which is transcendent, which knows that it is as easy for the truth to say, "Get up and walk," as it is for a tired man to say, "Lie down and rest." This calls for faith and understanding, a complete conviction that God is right where you are, that life is speaking through you, and that the law of life is obeying your will. Words without this awareness have no power. Spiritual awareness is the healing agency loosed through your words. While it is true that thoughts are things, they are things in your experience only in such a degree as your inward consciousness pours the fire of conviction into the form of your intellectual affirmation. The authority for your words is in your works. The only authority you have for your belief is the authority of what that belief accomplishes. Jesus would have left no lasting mark on history if he had not proved what he believed. When he said peace, there was peace. When he said to the wind and to the wave, be still, the wind and the wave were stilled. When he told the paralyzed man to get up and walk, the paralyzed man got up and walked. Naturally, you may exclaim, well, I'm not Jesus. Fortunately, you are not. You are yourself. This is the most wonderful thing about you. You are someone in your own right. You have access to the same power he used. The God who is ever with you is the same Spirit with whom he communed. There are not two spirits or two powers. There are not two divine presences or two universal laws of mind. There are not two laws of gravitation or two principles of mathematics. Nothing has happened to reality since Jesus walked the shores of Galilee and ministered to the multitudes who so eagerly followed him. The kingdom of heaven, which Jesus was always talking about, is also your kingdom. The Spirit which was within him is in everyone, equally available, giving of itself alike to every age. It is neither the power, nor the presence, nor the law that you lack. If you do lack anything, it is a consciousness, an inner spiritual awareness. This consciousness is a thing of thought and conviction. It is a thing of faith and understanding. No one can give this to you but yourself. And if you have it, no one can take it away from you. Say, truth lives forevermore at the center of my being. I know that the faith that walked over the troubled waters of human experience 2,000 years ago is at the center of my own being. I know that the inner calm that stilled the tempest is accessible to me today. I know that the truth within me is always triumphant. Analyze what must have happened in the consciousness of Jesus when he healed the man blind from birth. The people around him said that either this man must have sinned in some previous incarnation, or he must be suffering from the sins of his forefathers. So they asked Jesus if this man did sin, or his forefathers, that he was born blind. Jesus was confronted with this proposition. If reincarnation were true, this man was suffering from past mistakes. If the Mosaic law were true, then the sins of his parents were visited upon him. You can imagine how the mind of Jesus must have worked. He knew that the truth could set this man free. He knew that God already was incarnated in him and did not need to reincarnate. He knew that the spirit of this man had never been born and could never die. Jesus wiped out the belief in all previous sins or mistakes through his awareness of the God who is ever present, whose vision never fails, and whose all-seeing eye has never dimmed. The anguish of condemnation, the dogma of false beliefs were entirely dissolved. He knew that this man was one with the eternal mind. Therefore, he knew that this man turned from his consciousness of sin and mistake. He was made free. All previous liabilities were wiped out. Every wrong act was corrected. This same understanding is available to you. This same compassion is yours today. This same divine realization waits your recognition of its beneficent action for you. You are one with God, who is right where you are. Say, The spirit of infinite peace flows through my whole being. I live, move, and have my entire existence in this peace. I know that there is no judgment, no condemnation, and no fear. I realize that everyone and everything is struggling towards the light. I know that peace exists at the center of everything. I let go of all confusion and permit myself to rise into that realm of pure spirit, which is forever free from doubt and uncertainty. I know that God is right where I am. When you give a spiritual mind treatment, you are focusing a power and giving a conscious direction to something which has accumulated within you through continual recognition. The peace your intellect affirms must be backed by a consciousness generated through perhaps repeated and laborious effort. The reward is worthy of the endeavor. If at all times you are seeking inwardly to be aware of the divine presence, you will find it easier and easier to direct the law of life for definite purposes. Say, I know there is an inner presence in everything. I know that this presence responds to me. I know that everyone is an incarnation of God, that the living Spirit breathes through all. I recognize this Spirit and it responds to me. I realize that everything is alive, awake, and aware with Spirit. I commune with this divine presence. The Spirit within me reaches out and communes with the Spirit in everything and everyone I contact. It is the same Spirit in all, over all, and through all. Chapter 11, This Thing Called You, by Ernest Holmes.